So we are going to do the left values test again because last time I screwed it up and there was music in the background. So this time we are going to do something different. Not different, but we're going to do it again. I'm switching to politics. Left values to see what type of leftist you are, and I'm going to go a bit more into the explanation of why I'm answering the questions the way I answer the questions. That's not my language. My language is English. Revolution versus reform. Closest match. Okay. Click the button with your opinion on it. Reforming capitalist societies is to achieve better rights for workers is desirable. Yeah, say hi to YouTube. Of course it is. If we, like, you can create a better capitalism. You can create a better capitalism. Is it gonna be what you need? No, it's not. Where did everyone go? Oh, they just, they left because we're doing politics and not everyone wants to be, here for politics. So yes, reforming capitalist societies is to achieve better rights is good. My thing says 2 viewers. It can't be 2 viewers, so agree. Revolution is the best way to, of achieving a socialist society. It's definitely a good way of achieving a socialist society. The negative consequences of a revolution genuinely outweigh the generally outweigh the advantages. Disagree. Liberal democracy is a viable way of achieving a socialist society. Yeah, right. You must be crazy. A socialist revolution is made inevitable by the conditions of capitalism. Yep, workplace democracy within capitalism is an acceptable alternative to a complete socialization of the economy. Disagree. Revolutionary violence is acceptable as long as the final outcome is positive. It depends on under which circumstances. You know, violence overall is definitely, you know, bad. Violence is bad, guys. But if the state is going to preserve, rather than its citizens and its workers, is going to preserve capitalism, also explanation, welcome. If it's going to preserve capitalism and everything that entails, it's not a good idea. There is no revolution without blood. Yeah, of course. Though, you know, advocating for a revolution is kind of a bit of a twisty-turvy when it comes to TOS on websites, so... and a video game, of course. And Minecraft. Redistributing wealth away from the wealthy through taxes is a viable way of defeating inequality. Generally agree. Modern social democracy is a betrayal of left-wing values. Of course, like a full-on socialist or communist society would be better. Oppressed people have the right to engage in a violent uprising when all other options are exhausted. Key thing here is when all other options are exhausted. The means of production such as factories and farms must be publicly owned. True. Material conditions and needs are the dominant drive behind socioeconomic changes. Generally, I agree. Brits, I am coming, Lamau. Socialism can only be fully achieved and developed in industrialized societies. Disagree. Because, you know, I think there's work in every society that needs to get done, whether it be farming, hunting and gathering, and I think even then you can still have socialized means of production. You know, a Booga Booga Club can be publicly owned, where, oh, I need the Booga Booga Club today, so it'll be mine for the day. Ooga Booga. No, I'm talking about, like, caveman. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need, is a good principle. Agree. It is possible to peacefully convince the ruling class to conform to a socialist society. Yeah, right. Not happening. Capitalism will introduce its own demise through contradictions that result in crisis. True, and that's what we're seeing. Class conflict is a force that has influenced much of human history. Totally agree. I mean, that's what got rid of feudalism. That's what creates revolution. That's what created a couple wars. The establishment of socialism is a gradual process rather than an instant or rapid one. Disagree, not strongly, though. There's many different ways to establish socialism and communism. I don't, even as a communist, I don't want full-on communism until we reach a point of like 90% automation or like post-scarcity. Society is chiefly driven by individuals and ideas. What? I don't know if it's talking about rather than the collective, but if you're talking about like, no, society drives society. I mean, not chiefly. Everyone has a place to put into history. Total economic and social equality is realistically possible to achieve. I am a I'm gonna put unsure for that one. An economy is generally designed better when it's organized bottom up rather than top down. Agree. Local planners rather than national planners are more efficient in running a planned economy. You know, if we are to have a planned economy, centrally planned economy based around computers is a concept worth investing. Agree. In underdeveloped societies, a centrally planned economy is the best way to make rapid progress. I think there's multiple like ways to fix issues. I don't know about you guys, but I think there's multiple ways of doing communism that is good. As long as a centrally planned economy treats the workers well, and by well I mean like they can afford everything and they like own the means of production, it's all cool. And like have a seat at the table, yeah. The principles of workplace democracy and self-management are desirable. Strongly agree. The state can be best defined as a monopoly on violence and oppression. Absolutely. Like, why can the state... that's the whole thing about anarchism, is why can the state do violence in, like, third world countries or other places, and I can't do violence? And their violence is necessary and understandable, and your violence is not. A highly centralized, planned economy is not socialism, but rather... yeah, I mean, that's what China is. China's not real communist. Bureaucracy and inefficiency are always inherent in centrally planned economies. Disagree. It is necessary to establish a dictatorship of the proletariat as a transitionary state. Disagree. The government should be capable of assigning individuals to workplaces. Agree. A world socialist republic is a realistic and desirable goal. Nationalism and patriotism are impulses that are unacceptable in a socialist society. Agree. Hang on, what was that thing before? I didn't know. Socialist, the global socialist movement should not be led by a single party or organization. Agree, strongly. I think if you have one party or one organization, it can fall apart easier that way. If things happen, and that's like not going to be good for anyone. Foreign officials have no right to dictate policy in another country. Agree, not strongly, because I think international law should exist. I think national law is important to make sure nothing, like absolutely crazy happens, like a genocide or like killing of gay people. You know, stuff like that. Open borders between like-minded socialist countries is desirable. I'm gonna strongly agree. I'm gonna strongly agree with this one because I think open borders in general is desirable. Any socialist country should be dedicated to exporting their ideology abroad. I don't know, because that sounds imperialistic, to be honest. As much as I don't like imperialism, especially when it comes to capitalism, capitalist countries will be imperialistic and try to destroy socialist countries. I want like a global revolution so that nothing crazy happens. Like, so that capitalism does not, or capitalist countries do not destroy individual flames that start to come up and do certain things. So I'm gonna agree, but not strongly. People of similar cultures should unite in federations and confederations. No. The international proletariat belongs to no country. True. National liberation or self-determination for all peoples is a good concept. True. You know, get rid of borders. Eventually, you know. We can't just get rid of all borders overnight. It would be chaos. There has to be a plan for transition. I would be willing to sacrifice economic resources in my home country in order to help other countries. Agree. Not strongly. I like to have nice things. Only a couple nice things, though. Like a computer and air conditioning. And internet. And food. Yeah. Socialist political parties should participate in liberal democratic elections. I don't know what a liberal democratic election is, but I do believe in democracy. Democracy is good. If by liberal democratic elections they mean the Electoral College, gross. Never. Trade unions and worker councils should form the basis of a socialist society. It's a good way of creating a socialist society. So I will agree. The leadership of political parties in the progression towards socialism will always lead to authoritarianism. Disagree. Democratic centralism is an authoritarian organizational structure that disregards the masses. Agree, yeah. Only a mass workers' party can achieve any meaningful long-term goals. Agree, not strongly. I think there are many different ways of creating a socialist economy. And eventually a communist economy. Mass spontaneous actions are more effective than carefully planned actions. Actually, I'm going to disagree with that one. I think we need a plan for transition. The fact that so many workers vote for bourgeois parties over socialist parties is proof that the party politics are no longer relevant. Agree. Two-party system, at least especially in America, fucking sucks, dude. Socialist organizations are generally better off when organized loosely and decentrally. True. I sound like a fascist? How? Trade unionism has been largely corrupted by the ruling class and is no longer viable structure for a socialist organization. Disagree. Your economics are fascist? How? Explain. Climate change is a major global threat that all socialists must fiercely combat. True. Measures to address environmental issues are are unacceptable. America's built on racism and still has racist history. Look, listen, I'll talk to you in a little bit. How is hating America a Nazi talking point? Whatever. Measures to address the Nazis hated America. That's fucking dumb. Yeah, you can hate America without being a Nazi. Measures to address environmental issues are unacceptable if they result in significant decreases in population and quality of life. Wow. I'll get back to that. It is foolish to yeah, so I pressed agree because I don't think like a decrease in population is good. I want people to like stay alive. It is foolish to expect renewable resources to replace fossil fuels. Strongly disagree. Industrialized farming practices must be abolished, even if it leads to lower outputs. I don't know. It will be important to implement extensive environmental protections as part of achieving social. Experimental environmentally friendly food sources are totally worth investing in. Yep, absolutely. I don't need to explain that. Personal motor vehicles such as cars should be replaced with free public transport. Absolutely. Again, I don't feel like I have to explain that one. Cars are dumb and bad for the environment and just create traffic, and traffic is terrible. It is acceptable for humanity to suffer some noble extent to preserve the natural ecosystem. Agree. We must radically alter food consumption in order to limit the exploitation of nature. Actually, agree. Human population growth must be curbed to prevent an ecological disaster. No, again, human population growth, especially in third world countries, is not like starting an ecological disaster. Some small scale destruction of nature is acceptable if it notably benefits humanity. Yeah. I mean, we've done that before. Small destruction of nature is okay. There just needs to be ways to keep the ecosystem alive. Humanity must return to its primitive ways of the past to overcome long-term climate issues. Nah. We must accept it that socialist states of 20th century failed to seriously address environmental issues. Agree, actually. The oppression of LGBTQ people is a major issue that needs to be seriously addressed, obviously. Yeah, I'm a gender abolitionist. Gender's dumb. Marriage is a patriarchal construct that should be phased out. I think marriage is beautiful. But with being with one person for the rest of your life is kind of weird. Also, I think maybe marriage is beautiful because I've been socially conditioned to believe that marriage is beautiful. So I'm gonna agree, but not strongly. Abortion is immoral and should be banned or significantly limited. Disagree, not strongly. Again, y'all know how I feel about abortion. I don't like abortion. I don't like the concept of abortion. But because I don't like the concept of abortion, I'm very pro contraception. Also, in the cases of rape and incest, I think abortion are totally cool. And as a last resort, I don't ever think that you should force a woman to do something. Well, not to do something, but to carry something in their own body that is basically parasitical. Actually, steak, that's a lie. You live in some other place. Religions overall have a mostly positive effect and should remain influential in society. Disagree, not strongly. I believe in freedom of religion. I think that religion overall has done a lot of bad things for society. Minority population should receive special legal protections. Yeah. A socialist government has no right to disrupt religious or cultural traditions in any situation. Disagree. If that tradition is marrying off like 9-year-olds, should probably stop it. You know? Prisons are oppressive and antiquated institutions that should be abolished. Agree, but not strongly. I think that maybe we can create a system that detains people if they are a danger to themselves or others. Okay? If you're a danger to yourself or others, like, I think that we could probably detain you. Detain them where? In like a hospital or a facility. Not something that, something that is different from a prison and operates different from a prison. Something more like a school. So stick everybody in the loony bin? Not necessarily. I believe, we need to change the way that loony bin, quote unquote, mental facilities and stuff look like anyway. Because I think mental illness is like just part of life. So I'm gonna agree, but there is, and actually, you may not know this, David, but the current state of the United States system, basically warehouses people that have mental illness. Politics that enable mass immigration are naive and should not be implemented. Disagree strongly. I believe in open borders. Like, legitimately, not like the Democratic Party's open borders. No, it's kind of bad to say loony bin, okay? Okay, actually, Steak. Open borders is a Koch brothers proposal. Yeah, it is a Koch brothers proposal. I want it differently for the reason that than the reason that I want it differently than the reason that the Koch brothers want it. The Koch brothers want it because they want immigrants to work for them, because they know that Americans may not want to work for them. The more people that participate in the economy, like, the better off the rich people are, because the more labor they can exploit. You cannot achieve a socialist party, a socialist society without making significant social progress. Agree? Bernie Sanders, go. Welcome back. So I'm very progressive, 14.7% conservative. I don't know what part of that makes me conservative, whether that's my stance on abortion or whatnot. So my closest matches are council communism. Council communism is a form of left communism that emerged in Germany and Holland in the early 20th century. Council communists reject participation in liberal democracy, support some spontaneous revolutions, and believe in disempowering political parties in favor of workers' councils. Interesting. The Democrats can only win when they rig election. Wait. Yeah. What is that cope? What is that cope in here? What are you doing? Hey, thanks for watching. If you would like to support me in any way, I would very much like it if you would go to my Patreon or anywhere else and help me out by donating money or pressing that subscribe button and that bell, going over to my Twitch channel, hitting that follow and that bell. Yeah. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and I'll see you around.